Greetings everybody. In this video I should have taken notes so I can touch on the topics that are essential to this particular video, but I'm going to wing it. I've been back from Jamaica over a week. By the time you started seeing my uploads, I would have already been back. I really don't believe in making an announcement when I'm going anywhere. For those of you who um, usually read my community post. On my birthday, I wanted to do something special for you. And so I uploaded pictures, a few pictures, just to show my appreciation. But by the time the video started going on my channel, I was already back. Now, my trip to Jamaica, one of many, I've been here 30 years and I have had at least 5 Canadian passports and they're full. And so I would go back when the guardians who raised me were still alive. I would be there every other year at least, if not every year. And so that those passports are full with trips to Jamaica. And I'm going to tell you that this trip to Jamaica was different in many respects. This was the first time I went there on my own business. Last time I was there for the Paul Bogo's March, and it was my business, it was for my education, but I was also invited. But in this time, it was about me, and I wanted to take a particular trip to look at a particular thing, to attend to a particular business, as well as celebrate my birthday. One of the first things that I noticed when we got off the plane and we walked to and through customs, I was astonished to see how full to capacity customs was. And when I looked at it, I looked around, for a moment I forgot where I was. Um, I felt like I could be visiting any European cities. I mean, packed to its capacity and very few black people. So that was one of the first telltale signs for me to say, wow, we as Jamaicans spend so much time talking about the horrific situations in Jamaica. I'm not saying that we shouldn't talk about it. I'm just saying we highlight it. Now, when we promote the negativity on our country, and then other folks have negative things to say, we get offended, but we are the culprits. Now, everything that happens in Jamaica happens everywhere else and is multiplied elsewhere. But leave it to us, and leave it to us sharing our story as we do with everything else. We tend to show the most negative thing about ourselves and about our people. So going there was a high opener, and I'm going to say this to anybody. There will come a time when there will be so much instability in the world that the very place that some of us, they say cast stone behind us, we throw our stick before we cross the bridge, and we say the worst things about the place where we were born. And I say we. One day will come when you'll come to understand that a lot of what you heard was not true. First and foremost, when you're there, it's a different story. It's a different environment. The individuals who don't want to be there, they're the ones who oftentimes tell you the worst of it because they don't want to be there to begin with. And those of us here who don't want to go back, who would never want to have anything to do with Jamaica, are also the ones who promote it. Those who love it, those who are from there, who live there, who love it, they tell the story. They talk about experiences, individual experiences, and not collective. They don't tell the story in a way that make it seem like Jamaica is the deepest, darkest place on the earth. These things happen, and we would love to see changes in our country, but the horror or the horrific stories we hear are few. But when you look at social media, oh my goodness, everywhere in the world has problems. And some of our favorite foreign countries have lots of problems, but you still see people packed up at the embassies doing anything. If one of the most horrific things was to occur in the United States of America right now, you would never stop seeing Jamaicans crowded at the embassy looking to go there in the midst of that. So I've never paid any attention to any of that. Now, I'm not saying that you don't exercise common sense or, caution when you go to Jamaica, as is the case with anywhere else in big cities, especially where there's a lot of crime and violence. You exercise anywhere you live, you exercise. I'm not going to be in my house and not close my doors. I'm not going to be answering my door at night to people or, folks that I don't know. It is the same. But when I look into the love that people have for Jamaica, genuine, true love. And many people are there thinking of building their homes, building their lives, taking their children from the parts that we worship to bring right there to Jamaica to raise. It is something I've noticed that for years. And I can think of one particular community. When I go to that community, I sometimes have to remind myself that I'm in Jamaica and there are people from around the world that make their lives there, buy their homes. Now, some of you touched on that tour guide. I intended to vlog the whole journey, especially her telling of the story or the history of Jamaica. But to be honest with you, I, out of respect for my country sister, had to turn the camera on because, first of all, she gave a lot of faulty information about the history of Jamaica. Number one, she said that French and Spanish and English was the reason why we had patois. She didn't mention anything about the African dialect. She didn't mention anything about our ancestors holding on to our heritage, hence holding on to the language as a part of resistance, as a part of survival. So, some of the information she gave was very faulty. In terms of her, saying good morning and no one answering, I was also one of those who didn't answer, not because I was trying to be rude, but because I was busy doing something and I heard her, but I didn't really hear her. That happens. And so when she went over and she explained that in Jamaica we say good morning, and if someone doesn't answer, we see it as an insult, I really didn't have an issue with that at that point, but she just wouldn't stop. And she said things on the tour that was very unprofessional. I mean, talking about people in Jamaica beating their kids, and it was just embarrassing. And at one point, I had to turn off my camera because at the end of the day, this is her job, and I don't want to be the one to expose that part of it. I was taping. I don't think anyone else was taping, and I didn't want to be the one to, cause her to lose her job. But she does, as someone said in the comment section, she could use some retraining. But what was most shocking to me, she told a story about how individuals could come to Jamaica and get a piece of paradise for themselves. And she told the 99.9% of people who were non-African that if they wanted a piece of land in Jamaica, all they had to do is find a piece, just, what did she say? Capture it, make sure that they planted a tree, and when it was bearing fruit, at that point, they could claim it as their own. My camera literally, my arm went limp. My camera was just sitting below the seat. I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. And therein lies a problem with our people. We blame other folks for our suffering, and we blame others for our own delinquency, and we blame others for self-hate. You know, she would never tell someone that looks like me or herself that they could come and capture a piece of paradise, but she was giving information to folks who had the ability to purchase land if they wish, how to do it. And it was just shocking, it was disgraceful, and it was very pathetic, to be honest with you. Jamaica is beautiful. And there are many people who are being sent home, and I know it might be very frightening for some of these individuals because they've left from they were children. They're going back to, instability. They're going back to uncertainty. They don't even have a home to go to. Some of them have no relatives, and so of course it's going to be frightening for some of these individuals. But if only, if only we could see. Some months back, I uploaded a video. I think it was no more than 1 minute, and I said earthquake, earthquake, because I don't like sharing my dreams anymore. Um, Not because I'm afraid of criticism or anything or ridicule, but it's what purpose does it serve? I just posted it that day because I saw it coming, and this 7.7, which would have been a massive earthquake, the way it presented itself, it just goes to show how blessed that island is. But that doesn't mean it's not coming. Some months ago, I talked about some political thing and what the prime minister said about, turning Kingston into the old city of glory. And during that time, we were talking about Henry Morgan and the Bond Tree and, all kind of the most wickedest city, as they refer to it. And it was destroyed by earthquake. You don't have these conversations or the slip of the tongue unless there's something else coming. And so I pray for our country. I pray for our people. I pray that our mentality will change, not just those who live there, but our own. And to understand that, there is power in the tongue. But don't let what people say drive you away from Jamaica. If you have your own reasons why you say, I don't want to go there, I respect that. But I'm saying, don't base your judgment or your decision on what other folks are saying. Let your own mind bring you to that place where you decide, I want to go or I don't want to go. If you choose not to live there, that is your prerogative. But never allow somebody else to determine your own destiny. It's not a good thing. And understand that whatever positions you find yourself in, you have an active role that you play or can play in that. Okay. You see what's happening in the world. It's frightening when you hear the stories. New disease and, new tension and whatever in the world. It's the nature of man. It's never going to change. But you can change individually. See how it's done. You see how these things happen. You see how, you know, power exchange hands and how folks can reclaim power in just like this. Just a tongue, just telling of a story, and everything comes falling down. So when you recognize the power of a few, the power that individuals have to say, we want this now, we want to change this now, we want to take this now, we want to, impress upon people's minds what we want to impress upon their minds. You have to understand that you can't look to other people for your leadership and your guidance. You won't get any truth. You have to look within. You have to go to a deeper place and search to find meaning for yourself because, to be honest with you, the majority of the world is filled with liars, people who will do and say anything to benefit their cause or their position. And as I said before, you cannot live your life for other people. You cannot let anybody, not even your parents, when you get to a certain age, not even your parents, to dictate how you live, where you live, what you do, what you believe in, who you see. You just cannot do that. Jamaica is beautiful, people. I really enjoyed myself. And I came back and I'm sick. And except for some food aversions that I had there, not because I'm allergic to the food itself, but the way the food was prepared at the resort that I was staying at. It was just also an example of how people don't know how to be inclusive. In an environment where everything is salt or super sweet, they don't think about people who have health concerns or who just don't want to eat a certain kind of way. It's across the board that attitude, that don't think about others, don't think about everyone, not just necessary. If it's okay for you, I'll just do it. I'll promote this because it's beneficial to me, and not understand that people have different needs. We have different needs, we have, concerns and all that. Millions of people are going to Jamaica every day. And don't think that people are just sitting on the resort. You know, Jamaicans will go there and tell you, I can't go out in the city. I can't go anywhere because I'm afraid of violence. Violence is everywhere. So while I like that, sanitary condition, and when I say sanitary, I mean, everything seems so perfect and you feel like you're in a kibble. I can't go to Jamaica and do that. I have to venture out. Part of me being there is to contribute to the economy in some way. And when I stay at a resort, unfortunately, that money gets siphoned off to the places where these owners come from. So I have to make my point and my duty to go out and visit a different parish or a different community, go to the locals, buy food, buy whatever. Before I go, I want to say this. On one of those tours that I went on, the same guide took us to this area to shop, and she literally stopped the bus and brought us into a shop that was run by an Indian person. One location, we had two stops, and the first stop, when we went into that gift shop, and I thought to myself, there's no fucking way I'm coming to Jamaica and I am going to be spending my money here. I do that in the country where I live. I'm coming to the area, and right beside that store, it says 100% Jamaican. 100% Jamaican. A black woman owns this store. And this other black woman, this Jamaican woman, perhaps it's her job to do that, but she brought us right in there. And then we went to the next one, and I asked the persons who worked there, who were also Jamaicans, is this a Jamaican owned um, place, establishment? And the person said yes and clearly lied. And when I went in there, one of the female tried to convince me that I should buy it from them because she would benefit. And I'm like, the woman next door is Jamaican. Don't you think she's going to benefit as well? I'm not going to Jamaica to go to certain stores to spend my money. I'm sorry. So when I go there, I must contribute to the economy because I don't live there. I don't pay taxes. I'm not able to contribute any other way. And it made me very sad, you know, how we allow ourselves to be used. And the very people we are going to support have absolutely no respect for us as a people. I'm not saying that people should boycott other people's, business. I'm just saying that when I go, I'm not even setting foot in some of those places because they don't even like black folks. They don't even like me based on my experience. I wish I could have stayed longer. And the next time I go, and this really was the first time I went home and didn't go to my own place. When I say go to my own place, where I feel like I'm at home, the little times I ventured off, you just didn't feel like I had enough of home. But my next trip will take care of that. Anyway, everybody, hope you're feeling blessed. I'll come back with another topic. Stay blessed, everybody.